Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all about relationships and family communication and parenting, and I teach through the lens of self-government. I have been asked the question, how do I stop arguing with my husband? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. I've got 4 tips for you today for how you can stop arguing with your husband. I'm so glad you're asking that question. I remember a time when I asked myself that question. I thought, why do I keep doing this? Why every day do I start the nagging, the griping, the arguing? I don't want it. Why am I doing it? And I think a lot of it had to do with stress. I was a little overloaded. I was worn down. The children had a lot of needs. My husband was working long hours. But you know what? Even though all those things were a reality at that time of life, I knew that I didn't have to maintain this type of communication style with my husband that was definitely not bonding. It was not good for our relationship. So I just want to say yay for you that you have decided to look at yourself and say, wait a minute, I've got to change me. How do I do it? That is the type of person that I am too. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Let's talk about these 4 tips that I have for you because I really think they are going to help set you free if you apply them in your communication with your spouse. The first tip that I have for you is to recognize the difference between truth and lie. Okay? This is important because when you're getting upset or angry at another person, oftentimes you are convincing yourself of a lie. So it's good to question those lies and make sure that what you're thinking is true, or if it's not, to push it away. So what am I talking about? That may seem a little vague, but let me explain how it works. So let's say that my husband comes home from work and he's later than he said he would be. Dinner's been sitting on the table, it's cold. So in my mind, I might be buying into the lie, he doesn't even care. He doesn't even care that I have put in all of this work to try to please him and to make him happy. That is a lie. I am thinking that I know what he's thinking or what he's even been through that day, right? So those are lies that I start telling myself. They're based upon assumptions a lot of the time. So what if I challenged that lie? What if I said, wait a minute, Nicholeen, do you really know what he's thinking? Do you know why he's late coming home? Do you know what he really cares about and what he doesn't? Has he given you any other evidence that he doesn't care about this gift or this kindness that you're trying to extend to him? And the answer would be, whoa, he shows me all the time how much he acknowledges what I do. He's grateful. I see his love on all these different occasions. Why am I making such a big deal about this moment right now? So before you go into that emotional place that's going to start the fighting, stop yourself and challenge those possible lies. It's huge. It will change your life. It will set you free, and you'll be able to hopefully let go of the things that are lies. If you can label them a lie, then you can decide not to live them. Tip number 2, acknowledge that you are wanting some control. When you are arguing with another person, you are attempting to control them. This is an emotional manipulation tactic. People try it every day, all over the world. And most of those people are usually trying to manipulate another person. So if you can acknowledge, I'm trying to be controlling, then that's something you can work with. Wait, why do I have to be in control? Can I be patient? That's the opposite of control. Can I wait? Waiting is a skill that we learn. We learn by having delayed gratification, by giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, by sitting tight for just a minute. So sometimes when we're really craving things to be efficient, to check the things off the list, to get somewhere in time or whatever it is, we start controlling. And then our spouses immediately step back and distance themselves from us because they feel like we are being controlling. Go figure. So acknowledge that you are trying to control and then decide, I don't have to be in control of another person. He's an adult. Let him control himself, even if he messes up. In fact, one of the greatest things that I ever told myself was, I've got to let him fail. How dare I take away his learning opportunities by trying to protect him from any kind of failure he could ever have? I've got to let him fail. I remember telling that to my daughter too as she was ready to get married. Honey, do not control everything. Let him fail, let him succeed, let him lead. Do you realize that as the wife in this marriage relationship that you actually have a lot of opportunity to control? And that when you decide to let go of a little bit of that control and let him have that control, what really comes through is trust, respect. And that's what he wants more than anything. That builds his confidence and it draws his heart to you. So let go of the control. Before I get to my next 2 tips, click that subscribe button. There are other videos on here about the husband and wife relationship, but also about just family relationships, good communication in general that you can use to strengthen the bonds in your marriage and all of your family relationships. Tip number 3, plan for good problem solving by developing the skills that you will need for success. So what skills do you need to not argue? Well, there are multiple skills that a person needs for success. In fact, there are 4 skills that a person needs to be successful, and it takes care of the majority of their behavioral problems. So these 4 basic skills are being able to follow instructions, accept no answers and criticism, accept consequences, which means you can correct yourself too, and disagree appropriately. So all of these are going to come into play in a marriage relationship. He's going to use all 4 with you. You're going to use all 4 with him. That's how it goes. But let's talk about that disagree appropriately skill, because that disagree appropriately skill is huge. Why argue when you can disagree appropriately? So disagreeing appropriately, you look at the person, you keep a calm face, voice, and body, then you say that you understand their point of view. Then you share your point of view. You listen to what they have to say. And then you say, okay, or maybe you discuss it a little bit more. But then finally you drop the subject. This means you don't take it personally any longer. Tip number 4 is have regular meetings. So what should these meetings look like and when do you have them? So when my husband and I started doing treatment foster care, this was years ago, we took in troubled teens into our home. We had 2 children of our own at the time. We now have 4, but we took in these teenagers when we had little toddlers and we were doing treatment care for them. This was a new experience. At this time, my husband and I decided, whoa, we've got to be on the same page with everything all the time or we are not going to be successful with this treatment. So we decided that every single evening we would have a couples meeting. Now you may think like that sounds a little intense. We didn't keep it to every single evening. It started like that, but then we decided that we could get by with once a week. So every Sunday afternoon, we have a couples meeting. It lasts 30 minutes. We check up on our schedules, what's been happening throughout the week. We talk about the children. We talk about things that we need to accomplish as a family. And we also talk about our needs and our desires in our couple relationship. This is huge. So this is a time to check up on our communication. So if maybe somebody's nagging too much, maybe it's me, he's going to tell me about it. And I'm going to work out with him a better way to correct him or a better way to address my issues. So many times in our couples meetings, we talked about how we can improve at our communication so that we don't get frustrated with each other. When you're arguing with your husband, it's because you're not feeling like he gets it. You're not feeling like he understands. You're frustrated at something he's doing and he's not catching your cues. So our brains work differently, right? Guy brains and girl brains. Guy brains are really compartmentalized. Girl brains are like kind of all over the place, like we hook everything together. And so when he's not hooking something together, we start to take it personally. This means that we're actually creating our own traps. Now, speaking of traps, if you've liked this video, there is a video I know you're gonna love. It is called The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. This is the next step for a successful and united marriage relationship. Now, in this class, yes, it is a full class that I am giving completely for free. I talk about how sometimes we trap ourselves and what changes we can make to turn those potential traps into successes. So go watch The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success now. I'll see you there, and best of luck with that marriage relationship. Love is over the horizon if we decide to focus on the truth and good communication.